Hello there, viewers of High Television. Good morning to you all. You are welcome to the midweek edition of the program Press Brief with me, attending Larry Kevin Tabot. On this program, we bring to you the latest happenings and reported by the newspapers. And for the second phase, we will be having our resource person, Musa, who will be talking us through to the various talking points emanating from the papers. Stay with us as we'll be back to give you what they are saying. We start with this one. Let me see. We start with that information. Okay, let's start with the Popoli, please. Yes, on your WhatsApp, the caricature newspaper. Right, what's happening? Good morning once again. You are welcome to this slot, the first phase of the program, where we focus on the various newspapers. We start off with the static newspaper of Lupopoli. Lupopoli report for this morning talks of the prayers that have been emanating from the different stratas in Cameroon regarding the health and well-being of President Paul Biya. That is what you can find on that paper of Lupopoli for today. And still in that set, Lupopoli talks of the Indomitable Lions who have a swift qualification to the AFCON, that is African Cup of Nations, built for Morocco for 2025. Get to read details of that story and more on Lupopoli. From Lupopoli, we crossed over to Le Messager. Le Messager for today talks of elections. Crisis in the northwest and southwest region, high cost of living, and others. It says the need to save Cameroon from this chaos. That is the caption of Le Messager as it accorded this exclusive interview to Samuel Belong, who revealed all of this. And in that said paper, Mark Breeze, the Brussels to Rabat. You can find more on that on Le Messager for today. Le Jour for this morning talks of the exportation of timber to the European Union. It says what needs to change in Cameroon by the European Union. And there has been a remarkable increase of electricity supply to Cameroon as attained from 2022 right up to 2024. You can find more on that said paper for today. Financing, the paper talks of 40% of corporation or enterprises of public status are in need of funding. You can find more on that said paper for today. Away from that, we move on to Mutation for this morning. It talks of the multiple prayers that has been making rounds in Cameroon for the health and well-being of President Biya. You can find more on that said paper for today, as he has been absent from the public eye for 40 days counting now. Moving on to this other one from the president of the African Olympic Confederation, that is Colonel Kakama Mabum, who talks of Colonel Kakama Mabum, first president of the Confederation of African Sports and Olympics Committee. Get to read details on that said paper. Just to reiterate, he hails from the northern regions of the country. Road projects, the paper reports of 1,800 billion CFA francs needs to be attained between 2025 to 2027 by the state of Cameroon. This revelation was made public by the Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Njomisi. Get to read more on that said paper for today. And municipal updates of Victor talks of to enhance fight against STDs, HIV, social ills, Chantal Bia's social vaccine program. ICT University signs historic deal and fight against breast cancer. Garoua Hospital North Regional Council join forces with women, according to municipal updates for today. We move on to BEAC opens line for business to address coin scarcity, and Fako Division Monday Village construct hand over office to Fishery Agri School in Monday Village in Fako Division. Away from that newspaper, we now move forward with the Horizon. The Horizon for this morning talks of Atangaji censorship of debates on Bia's whereabouts. Akiremuna USDP's Prince Ekoso Nincho denounced that act taken by Paul Atangaji. Moving on to back to school, Menka Elite Tanga Foundation donates school kits, scholarships to hundreds of pupils and students who hails from Menka, a locality in the northwest region. Ecstasies as Enwi Francis returns home after being away from his native land in Momo Division for more than 7 years. Get to read more on that said paper for today. Moving on to the next publication, now we take you to La Voix du Consommateur. La Voix du Consommateur of Alphonse Abena Aïssi talks of alert. It says the disappearance in Yaoundé. That is what you can find on that said paper. And we move on to Sweden. This one talks of Kylian Mbappe has been accused of rape in Sweden. You can find details on that said paper of La Voix du Consommateur of Alphonse Abena Aïssi. Away from that paper of Alphonse, we now move on to Les Infos à Chaud for this day. Les Infos à Chaud for this morning report of the cancellation of the on the cancellation of the ordinary general assembly of FECAFOOT that was scheduled to take place in October the 19th to yet to a date to be announced by the president Samuel Etofis. In that said paper of Les Infos à Chaud, a report for this day on this audience granted by the Minister of State and Secretary General of the Presidency of the Republic Ferdinand Gongo to the Indomitable Lions head coach Mark Brice. Get to read more on Les Infos à Chaud for today. Away from Info à Chaud, we move on to Expression Economy. The economic newspaper reports on this alert in Jambon that has been contaminated. Get to read more on that said product for today, as it was made known to the public by the Minister of Fishery, Industry and Mines Industry. You can find more on that said paper for today. And the Ministry of Finance deployed strategy in order to address the situation of coin scarcity in Cameroon. We move on to Nouvelle Horizon for this morning. Nouvelle Horizon report of the Ministry of Health that partner to address the situation of nutrition in Cameroon. And we take you now to the Ministry of Public Works, who comes out with this win-win partnership with some key stakeholders in the public works domain. Quotidian Eco News for this morning talks on the port of Kribi. It says a logistic hub for a greater logistic purpose in the continent of Africa, according to quotidian Eco News for today. And that's the Eco News for this morning. It talks of the Central African sub-region in the face of innovation as the call for transformation of industrial transformation is being reinforced. We move forward with the next paper now. Le Rapport of Karotamba reports of progress made in the electricity sector in Cameroon. I says Cameroon now covers 71% of her population who now have access to electricity supply, a situation that was not gotten as for 2022. Traffic in Marwa, the paper in Marwa and Yaoundé, the paper talks of human bone trafficking in Marwa and Yaoundé. Says is this bad situation is now gaining more steam as many people are into this traffic in human bones that are being dug from graves. And we now move on to CPDM publication of L'Action. L'Action for today talks of Konya schools resume at last after 7 years that Konya has not been seen, has not had school resumption in that locality of the southwest region, as reported by the CPDM publication of L'Action. Digitalization of the birth certificate and marriage certificate. It says Yaoundé One Council launch this challenge. Get to read more in that said paper. Unity in Excellence. Santa Mighty Caucus rewards top students with scholarships and other encouragement for them to embrace their book work. La Voix du Jeune for this morning report of the central region. It says 20 taxi men has been killed within a couple of days in Yaoundé as the insecurity in Yaoundé in the taxi sector and the entire city as a whole keeps on worsening at the end of the day. The paper is asking what is the need for the multiple forces of law and order in the nation's political capital city of Yaoundé. That's a worrisome situation reported by La Voix du Jeune for this day. From La Voix du Jeune, we now move on to this the Guardian Post. The Guardian Post of Christine Gar for this morning says to combat spread of HIV and AIDS in schools, Chantal Bia's social vaccine program, ICT Varsity signs deal. And in that said paper, African Trade Insurance Agency, Kelly Moore, first Cameroonian to be elected board chair. We move on to editorial of the Guardian Post. It talks of 2025 presidentials. OC should redeem SDF joint coalition. That is what you can find on the Guardian Post for today. And with that paper, this is what put a pause on this program for today. We'll be back for the second phase of the program with our resource person here with us. Heartily welcome back. If you are joining us, you are on to Press Brief, and on this program we focus on the papers. Our resource person for the second segment is Musa Noibu. Good morning to you, Musa. Heartily welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Larry. Good morning to you. Good morning, televiewers. It's a great pleasure being with you after a very long time. I'm very honored to be part of this session this morning.
Definitely, and it's been quite a long time ever since we met here on the program. And right on, we start on with Mutation newspaper of Cherry Diaga for this day. It talks of prayers to the President Paul Biya. It talks of the mysterious. It talks of this mystery regarding the prayers offered to President Paul Biya for his well-being and health.
Yeah, it's a lot actually. First of all, as a leader, of course, we are obliged to pray for our leaders, for guidance, for sense of responsibility for them to mount the affair of this wonderful nation. We know leaders, they are always guided by God. And the question here is, why is it that it was organized like a special prayer day. So that's a question that many Cameroonians are asking. But individually, I think many Cameroonians are praying for the head of state. We realize that even in some occasions, like for example in our feasts, the imams always pray for his long life, his wisdom in discharging his duties. But the question is, why the special prayer? I don't know why, and that's why many Cameroonians are asking, why now? Why making it together? And what is the purpose? What is not right? Many Cameroonians are asking. But individually, I think many Cameroonians are praying for leadership so that Cameroon will be better tomorrow. So we keep on observing what is happening. But hopefully, we pray that the head of state is well, and we are hoping to see him. As is reported by many newspapers, discussion about his hair has been banned by the Minister of Territorial Administration. So hopefully we are hoping that everything is fine, and many Cameroonians are yearning to see him in good health.
Yeah.
But many are questioning why organizing a special prayer for a particular day. We know that they have been praying for him
Yes.
on occasions in every feast. Sometimes the imams pray for him for long life, for wisdom, and so on and so forth.
To mount the affairs of the country.
Yes. So as a leader, of course, it's our responsibility to pray for our leader. But many Cameroonians are asking the question, why now? Why special prayers, and so on and so forth.
So that's how Mitason captures that as the mystery behind the multiple prayers that are being organized now in Cameroon. We now, Musa, will move away from that prayers organized in Cameroon for the health and well-being of Mr. President Paul Biya to this one that says the express roads project of Douala Yaoundé and other roads projects in Cameroon needs the sum of 1,800 billion CFA francs that needs to complete the works of the said structures, these road structures, and it will be within a time frame of 2025 to 2027. 1,800 billion. Isn't that quite a colossal sum?
Yeah, it's a lot of things. I will tell you that Cameroon is one of the highest countries that pays a lot in road construction. I don't know why. Many times we don't even have complicated rivers, mountains, and so on and so forth.
And topography.
Yes, the topography of Cameroon is good. So sometimes people questions why they hedge sum of money. Now coming back to the express road, I think many Cameroonians are really anxious to see the completion of that express road. But when you ask me where is it, I will tell you that I don't know. Is it the main road that is leading Yaoundé to Douala? Because in that main road we have seen the construction of so many toll gates and so on and so forth. So many Cameroonians are wondering where is it?
It's somewhere behind that road.
So the question is, why should we construct it somewhere and construct the toll gates somewhere? So many Cameroonians are wondering why, because normally it was supposed to be like the base road.
Yeah.
And the base road was supposed to have toll gates.
Yeah.
Of course, it's necessary. So why constructing it in the other old road when they are constructing the new road? And in Cameroon today, you realize that we have problem with roads. The road network in Cameroon has serious issue. The one linking, though there are some rehabilitation, which of course we thank the minister for that, between Douala and Bafoussam. They are currently working on that, and some major road. But of course, we know that even within towns, for example, Buya, look at just beside GC Port, it's terrible. Many, even going to Munya, Arama 18 is terrible. Douala, Buya, Arama 16 is not easy. Many of the main roads in Cameroon has serious problem, and I think the minister, we believe that he's not sleeping. He should do something with respect to that. Roads are very big sectors that help in the economy. For example, transportation of raw material, goods and services, and so on and so forth. You need the road. And many Cameroonians today, they are crying of high living cost because of because of this farm to market road, other roads that needed to be arranged, but they have not.
Okay, and Musa, let's move on to the horizon now. The horizon for this morning says Atanganji Paul's censorship of debate on Paul Bia's whereabouts. Akere Muna, USDP Sprint Ekoso. Nincho denounced that set act. We have a situation where the Minister of Interior, better known as Minister of Social Administration in Cameroon, Paul Atanganji, puts a ban on the discussion on the health of the President of the Republic and his whereabouts too.
Yeah, Mr. Lord, I think first of all, the minister, in my own thinking, he has the right to do it because he is the head of the government. Of course,
not the head of government. He's just a minister.
Sorry,
the head of government is a PM.
Yes, of course, he is just a minister who is heading the administrative body like the governors, like the of course.
Administration.
Yes, you perfectly mentioned it, that he is like the interior minister, and many countries they value this ministry. It's one of the toughest ministry because you oversee the administration of the country. And secondly, as the paper mentioned, there are some that criticize his move.
Yeah.
And the question was, it was supposed to be clarifying about the head of state, and of course, why they should not talk about him. And I think that is where maybe the other politicians were condemning that. But hopefully, we believe that everything is fine, and as we can see, the country is moving on well, and so far there's no problem. So, as it is mentioned, many people have put a doubt and question why should they be prohibited talking about the head of state. And for the minister, I believe maybe to bring order in the country, it's good that he put that because it was going viral in social media. We saw
even on mainstream media,
yes, mainstream media line
is
dead, which of course is not correct.
All right,
his death is not supposed to be announced by social media. So
not social media. It's a full-fledged news channel.
Yes, of course. So I think they have to question that news channel to explain the source and why is it coming now and so on and so forth. So those are some rumors that I think is not good.
All right, but Musa, let's zoom in. Let's zoom into this aspect. This situation happened like a week ago, and right now we haven't heard or seen the president. And at Paul Atanganji of the administration, many say it is not in his take to shout at media houses. You have the Minister of Communication, Emmanuel Rene Sadi, who is there. So some Cameroonians, many of them across the board, are like Rene Emmanuel Sadi of Communication should be the one to first of all raise this point, and secondly, and insist that the Cameroonians need to know about the state of health of the President of the Republic at any time, at every moment. Don't forget the situation in Nigeria, where just about 2 years ago, it happened 2 years ago, Muhammadu Buhari felt sick and it was announced. So he had to fly to UK, London to be precise, where he was admitted in hospital. And the Vice President, Professor Timi Osibanjo mounted up to be the interim president of the country.
Yes, Mr. Larry, each country has their own way of...
But the constitution of Cameroon stipulates that.
Yeah, I know, but for sure, yesterday the head of state has signed some decrees, and we have seen it.
I can use your signature and do anything.
But it does not justify that. You sign and it is clear. As you mentioned, first of all, you are right. I think it was the Minister of Communication who was supposed to maybe communicate, and he is closely linked with the media houses, and of course he was in the right place to do that. And that's why you realize that there's always misunderstanding sometimes between ministers. We have seen that between Minister Paul Atanganji and the Minister of Public Health.
Yeah.
where they had some misunderstanding about who will say what. So those things, I think, those things they do exist. We have been seeing them, and many a times ministers take responsibilities that they are not theirs. And of course, we hope that very soon he will come back. Hopefully, he is out for his stay in Europe, maybe, and hopefully he will be back soon.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure, he has signed a degree yesterday, which of course has clarified the social media rumors that people are moving around.
All right.
For sure, what Tanganyika has banned even discussion of this aspect, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
The question is, who was supposed to really ban the media from talking?
Though his ban came, but we have some media houses who are in French. They say also have food. They went ahead and they had their discussion and their debates and everything. So Musa, we'll move on to La Voix du Consommateur of Alphonse Abena. Ici, La Voix du Consommateur for this morning talks of this worrisome situation of disappearance in Yaoundé. So that is quite insecurity in Yaoundé. Disappearance in Yaoundé is now fast rising in the horizon.
Yes, I think the government should put serious security measures in major towns, especially in Yaoundé, as you mentioned. It's really alarming. You hear people have been missing, and finally nobody has ever seen them. And I don't know the investigations that we always do. We are supposed to improve in our security and our investigation channels so that tomorrow, when these things are happening, we should be clarified what is happening, where have they been taken to, what has happened to them. I think their family members, they need to know more. And people, when in a nation capital, as the paper mentioned, where it is supposed to be the most secure town, you see people disappearing, then you put a question mark, what are we doing? So I think there is a need for the collaboration between the police force and the inhabitant to see how they can remedy this situation, because as you mentioned, it's really alarming, and not only in Yaoundé and even in other areas.
And most of these people who disappear, they end up being found dead in the most despicable manner.
That's it. Finally, no homicide investigation, or even if it has been done, we don't see the result being communicated to us, and people are not responsible for that. So it's really increasing, and we don't know what is really happening. You realize that there are some few days that even I saw a picture of one boy who was announced missing in Molikoye. So I don't know whether he has been found or not.
All right, quite sad. And Musa, we move on to La Voix de Jeunes. La Voix de Jeunes for this morning says the central region, 20 taxi men has been killed within just a couple of days. We are talking of insecurity. I remember my other sister in Yaoundé. Whenever I go there, she always like, Yaoundé is not safe, don't keep late night.
That's it.
20 taxi men within just a couple of days in the city of Yaoundé.
It's really something that really calls for an investigation, a prompt.
And they were being killed in their taxis, and at times the taxis being taken away from them.
It's really sad, Mr. Larry. If the taxis are taken from them, they should find out where are they taking the taxis to, and who has done that. I think those people, they really need to be investigated. It should be, Yaoundé should be secured. No matter the time that you enter Yaoundé, you should arrive safely. But also here, when you go to Yaoundé at late times, you become stranded. And if you are not very careful, you can be robbed, or you can be
killed.
So it's really call for serious concern. The police force, I think they need to do more.
Okay. Let's move now to the Guardian Post for this day. Says 2025 presidential, OC should redeem SDF joint coalition. That is the editorial of the Guardian Post for today.
Yes, Mr. Lara, I think it's a very good move for the opposition parties, some of them to really come together. I think, as we always mention, it's always very difficult to win the CPDN, especially when you are single, you don't coalesce. And we know the attitude of many young Cameroonians who are not willing to vote because they always complain of a mentality that whether you vote or you don't vote, nothing will change. So those kind of things we have to really remove them from our mind. It's our responsibility to vote, and of course we have to select our candidate based on what they can offer to us. So I think it's a very good move, and hopefully other opposition parties, they should join these ones, and they see how they can form a unique opposition party that will face CPD in 2025 election.
And most definitely.
Yeah.
So we crossed over to the message of late Pio with the paper from Douala. Says elections, crisis in the northwest and southwest region, high cost of living in the country, save Cameroon from all of this chaos. These are the pronouncement of Samuel Belong.
Yeah, I think I agree with him. The situation, the living standard is not really easy, coupled with the crisis we have in the northwest and southwest region, which of course has
Exacerbated
yes, the issue.
situation.
And not only in the northwest and
Southwest.
even in other regions
Yeah.
of the country. Today, you might realize that a bag of rice is almost 40,000 francs.
Definitely.
Despite the fact that the government is doing a lot of effort to control the prices, but many buy and sell them, they don't care about that, and that's why the other time I
But
saw a
that's the more reason we have these price control agents.
yes.
But what are they doing? You see that they don't even care.
The delegate has, for the southwest region, removed a communique and gave his prices. But you realize that many vendors, they don't even respect the
The
price
set
tag that
price tag that was
given.
stipulated by government.
And you realize that in Monaco here, houses are not easy. You see a small room taking up to 500,000 francs.
Can you
And
imagine?
the government is not coming in to rescue that situation. So it's really a call for concern. We know that it's not really easy. The fuel prices have gone up. Today you cannot, it's difficult to pay 300 from UB Junction to Boyatown, which of course last year we used to pay 200 francs. So it's really becoming difficult for many Cameroonians, and we hope that the government should really come in, as he put it, to rescue this situation. It's really, really bad
and
in
quite
Cameroon.
and quite chaotic.
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's make a stop over to Loju. Loju from Douala, we now take you to Yaoundé with Loju. Loju of Hamad Mana from Yaoundé says Cameroon now has access to so Cameroonians, 72% of Cameroonians now have access to not 71, sorry, 71% of Cameroonians now have access to electricity, as it was not the case in 2022, according to that paper of Loju of Hamad Mana.
Yeah, Mr. Lord, I think we want to really salute the effort of the government in that direction. It's really important. I think the figures are not really bad, but the only issue that we have is the on and off electricity supply in many towns in the country. We know that they have reached a lot of Cameroonians, and especially in even in some remote areas. But you realize that the electricity is not really stable in major towns. It is on and off, and we believe that they work on that one, and maybe by 2035 we are going to cover 100%. Why not?
Okay.
It is necessary to do that.
All right, so we now move on to the exportation of timber to the European Union. He says the European Union wants a change in Cameroon when it comes to this sector, and we had a situation where the timber sector in Cameroon had to halt exportation within a certain period of time.
Mr. Lara, I think any business that we are doing now, this 21st century, we should look for a win-win situation, right? They should not come and exploit our forests and we don't gain anything, right?
Okay.
For example, I give you a simple example, like the people who are closer to the forest, the pygmies. They have a lot of forests, but you come and remove the forest without compensating them, without good roads,
And most of them,
without schools.
yeah, and most of them live in the forest.
That is the thing. So those are things, when making a deal, first of all, you should look at what the government in general is getting, Secondly, what the inhabitants of that particular area are getting. Like the road, electricity, schools, any public project. That when you extract their project, they should equally, when you extract their forest, they should equally benefit
from it.
So Cameroon is one of the countries that is very rich in natural resources, particularly the forest sector is very good in Cameroon. But the problem is that we should equally process some of this. We should be able to produce plywood, we should be able to produce toothpick from the forest and so on and so forth.
Tissue paper.
Yes, and even tissue papers and books. Right? It is necessary for us to do it. Papers and so on and so forth. We really need to make a secondary production sector where we can process this raw material. Should be the goal. Because once we are removing from the forest, of course, the one will come and buy it cheaper, which they will go and process it and send it back to us.
More expense.
Which at the end we are the loss.
Yeah. Okay, we move away from that story. We now crossed over to the CPDM ruling party's publication of L'Action. L'Action newspaper for today, Musa says, Konye schools resume at last. We are talking of Konye in Mehmed Division, or precisely in the southwest region, that schools has not been going. Schools have not resumed ever since the advent of the armed conflict in the rest of northwest and southwest regions.
Yeah, Salara is a very good step. We know that the children, they have lost a lot. Some of them, they have dropped from school. They might not come back again to sit in the four walls. But at least if we have lost a generation for 7 years, what should we do? We should try to protect the next generation. So it is always very important. Education is non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And we should struggle and encourage that no matter the situation that we are facing, we should really go for
Education.
We have seen in a serious war zone, maybe in Gaza, they are struggling that
Children should go to school.
So why align ourselves? For 7 years now, people are very frustrated, a lot of pregnancies, a lot of drugs abuse, and so on and so forth. Why? Because the children, nothing is occupying them. The A school was there, I think it would have been
Better.
occupying them.
Yeah.
It would have been far better. So
than
imagine a child who was in class 1 and comparing the child now after 7 years.
7 years.
Will you go back to class 1? No, school is over maybe for you. So it's a very big challenge that we had, and hopefully we pray that gradually peace should resume. Not only the peace, we should embrace peace, and we see how we can build a better Cameroon.
Musa is not even 7 years old, according to that paper. For 8 years, schools in the subdivision of Konye remained closed due to the attacks from armed separatists. We are talking of 7. Meanwhile, it has been 8.
From 2016 to 2024.
Yes, 8 years. So you can imagine 8 years no education for those children. They're quite worrisome. But we thank God that they are now going back to school. Okay, so we now move on to digitalization of birth certificates and marriage certificates that has been launched by the Yaoundé One Council. This time they are going digital, unlike other councils where when you go to do your birth certificate, they will tell you come at this time of frame, you go there, it's not available. But now everything is online in the Yaoundé One Council. How do you see it?
Yeah, Mr. Lara, I think we should face the fact Cameroon should digitalize all their systems. I cannot come to you that I need a particular document, you go and tell me to print, to photocopy, when you don't even have a recycle system that can help to recycle those papers. You go and pack them at the end of the day. Imagine, for example, if you are making maybe an ID card, you need a photocopy of your birth certificate, if possible, photocopy of the former ID card, you need nationalities, you need this, you need that. For example, you might need at least 6 papers. You come and submit them, right? they put their information and print your ID card. Where are the papers going to? Finally, they will go and discard them somewhere that they don't have even a recycling system that can help fight the climate change that we're talking about. Now, if we should face the fact many Cameroonians, they have Android phones. We should go to digitalization. We should not be left behind. Look at now what is happening in UB, that you can sit in the house and pay your school fees. Today they say no, go back to the 1990s to the bank. You go and stand very long lines.
It's quite appalling because Musa, I have been a victim to that.
Yeah.
I remember when Madame Nalova was still when she was just appointed as Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, we were paying this thing in Bank Atlantic. Yeah. Later on, within, let's say 2 years or so of her stay at the helm of that institution, she now goes digital. But now they're taking these students back. I saw it the other day on social media and I laughed.
Now, I'm telling you, Mr. Lara, I think there's no justification for that.
What we say, Bafia dance.
Yes, you go for front, you go for back.
As they say in the quarters.
That is it. It's really sad, Mr. Larry. When we are talking something, at least we should be really conscious. Look at what Madam Nalova is doing in the ministry. She has digitalized the paying of GC fees.
School fees?
Yes, of course. And she is struggling to allocate multiples to those students so that she can have a database.
They do have both in the secondary, in the private
and government district. But imagine a higher institution like University of Buea, you are going back to this thing. I think there's a need for us to go digitalization. I want to salute the effort of that mayor. Hopefully the other mayors, they should follow that. It costs you nothing to do it. It's just the willingness.
And it saves time.
Of course.
And fights against corruption. And
of course, people don't have time to go and be standing on long lines.
Because you go there, you say, okay, take this 5,000, FEMA, the guy just take it and very soon you are out. So we cannot go without visiting The Guardian. The Guardian, the Nigerian newspaper for today, today is celebrated as World Food Day. Inflation, weary Nigerians begging, borrowing for survival. We are talking of World Food Day, and the paper The Guardian captures that as inflation, weary Nigerians begging, borrowing just to survive.
Yes, I think it's alarming. I must tell you that Cameroon is even better than what is happening in Nigeria. They are really, I don't know, the government of Tinubu has really put a lot of Nigerians to test. As he mentioned, he plans to restructure the Nigerian economy, but for us, for how long? For how long? But what is good with Nigeria is that if you don't perform the next election, they remove you. That is the real democracy. In Nigeria, they don't joke. If you perform, they renew you. If you don't, they remove you. It's not like other countries in Africa where you can stay and do whatever you want.
For 40 years?
Yes, or even more.
All right, still in that said paper of The Guardian, Bright, can we have that The Guardian? No, not The Guardian. Now we move on to another Nigerian tablet before we leave. Let me see. I think we should be going towards. Oh my God. So we should be going towards this next paper for today. That is Daily Sun. Daily Sun from Nigeria, all the way from Lagos, is uproar in Senate over push to test politicians for drugs. As a senator says, if they should check the offices of different senators, they will find hard drugs.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is happening? If it's like when the head is, if gold can get rust, what about iron? These are people who are making the laws in the land. They are being accused of using hard drugs. So what do you make of that caption by the sound for today when Nigerian politicians, senators and parliamentarians are consumers of hard drugs?
Really sad, Mr. Larry. They are as you mentioned, they are the one making the laws, and they are the one who are supposed to protect the laws, and they are the one that should be an exemplary leader, right? The exemplary leader should come from the Senate and the parliamentarians. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, they are scared that they might be tested positive, and what would they go and say? So it's a really sad situation, and this tells you how Africa is in general. We should as a leader, you should be an example. People should look at you physically and they admire your leadership. You should not be doing, maybe when you come to the media, you are doing something else, behind you are doing something else. No. They look at you and they look at this a leader. And of course, when these things are coming, what about the youth? What about the youths who are frustrated? Because some give you a justification that they take the drugs because they are frustrated, they want just to relax their mind and so on and so forth, which of course is not a justification that we can accept, but that is their own way of life. And then what about the people who are leaders that are supposed to implement the laws against such practices and are the one doing the practices? It's dangerous.
All right, Musa, we'll leave it at that. That's what we'll take for today. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Larry, for having me. We hope to meet again.
Definitely, and whenever time permits you, our doors are always open. And Musa was a resource person for the program, and he is always intriguing and fascinating being here with us as always. So, viewers, that was the much we could take for this day. Do follow us tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. GMT plus 1 Cameroon time. For me and the entire crew, we are wishing you all a blessed day in the company of I Television.